Just because certain people have kids doesn't make them parents. Some people just don't make that cut. Today on rLounge, we separate the parents from the psychopaths. Up first, a surprise graduation gift from less than loving parents. My sister is infertile, and I'm glad. I, 28 female, have an older sister, Angela, 30 female, whom I have never liked. She always had to compete with me, but never in a normal sibling rivalry way. Our entire life, she has always seemed resentful of my existence, and the spotlight couldn't perpetually shine on her, so she had to step on everything I enjoyed. Per se, if I learned piano, she had to learn piano. If I excelled at a subject, she suddenly became a scholar in it. If I told my mom I had a crush, Angela would be dating that boy in a week. I would always tell my parents when she did this, but I was disregarded because sisters copy each other, and I can't gatekeep what she likes. She always monitored what activities I did and the clothes I wore, so she could outdo me. If I wore a flannel, Angela would come to school wearing an all-flannel dress. It was 2010 and that was peak fashion in our school. There was also more praise that followed Angela. Even if I took the initiative to begin the activity first, she was praised because she was better. My parents would miss work to attend her dance recitals, going to every single one, because the world would stop if they missed it. However, I remember maybe 2 of mine they attended because they were stuck at work or otherwise preoccupied. Angela reveled in this. She would make comments under her breath around our parents. Whenever our parents weren't around, she'd tell me how much she hated me and how I should stop trying because I would always come second to her. She also physically bullied me in school. Angela purposely tripped me, threw things at me, and hit me in the hallways on a nearly daily basis. The school had gotten involved multiple times, threatening Angela with suspension, and my parents fought it every time. My parents repeatedly told administration that this was a family matter and we were just bickering like normal sisters. She was never once reprimanded by either parent. Once, Angela was caught impaling a cat on the school fence, and my parents still defended her, saying this was normal teenage behavior. I often was in trouble as Angela would start crying, saying how she was being targeted by the school when I had antagonized her. After one of these occasions, Angela cut and bruised herself to prove to Dad that I was the aggressor. I became a pariah due to Angela's malicious rumors about me, so it was difficult for me to make friends. I resorted to only befriending people from other districts. Angela eventually made sure I had nobody by stalking them, befriending them, telling all my friends lies about how I was favored by our parents, and I constantly bullied and belittled her. She even stole boyfriends of mine doing this, convincing them I was horribly mean and an awful person. They copied her every move. Once she catfished me on MySpace for 4 months and baited me into sending her nudes, which she proceeded to send my parents and everyone in school, including teachers. Later on, she told one of the boys I liked that those were actually her pictures, and I had catfished her. The day at my high school graduation, my mom sat me down and told me Angela revealed the horrid abuse she had suffered at my hand, and I was no longer welcome in their home. After moving out the next day, my parents made very few attempts to communicate with me, only the occasional holiday and birthday text. All financial aid was also abruptly ended as soon as I stepped foot on campus. I met my now husband shortly after this, and we were married within a year. They did not feel inclined to attend my wedding, or even congratulate me. I informed my parents when I had my first child 8 years ago as an opening, but they made no attempts to contact or meet any of my 3 children. Best I know of Angela now, from what I've heard, is that she got married to one of the boyfriends she stole from me in high school, and she's been posting about her infertility issues and how she can't offer my parents their first grandbaby. After years of silence, I received a text at 8 this morning from my mother that I will copy and paste below. Hey, name. It's me, your mama. We haven't talked in a while and I surely miss you terrible. I wanted to let you know that your sister just had a miscarriage earlier this week. Angie and Justin are struggling a lot right now. Send something a little sweet her way. I'm sure she'd appreciate it. Get back to me. I love you. I hate to say it, but I'm glad she's suffering. I'm glad she doesn't get to be a mother. If she tormented me for years, what would she do to a child? Especially a girl. I don't wish death on any baby, but I know in my heart that child would be damaged by her. I'm angry at my parents expecting me to have any sense of obligation to her. I don't even have any sense of obligation to them. They always believed her and dismissed me. I was always the problem child, and it's strange how my mother can be so warm to me when asking me to do something for my sister. Also, the fact they cared more about my sister's now dead fetus than my actual children, who wonder why they only have one set of grandparents. I feel some sort of guilt for it, but I refuse to offer any condolences to my destructive narcissistic sister who has been justified in her bad behavior since birth. Maybe this will change her, help her develop empathy, or any type of emotion that isn't hate or vindictiveness. If that happens, I would be more than willing to offer support, but until then, I feel nothing but a small inkling of happiness that she's hurt. Am I awful for this? You know what happens when you ask the community? They've got responses. Past username says, no, and you should report her pattern of behavior with every adopting agency you can think of. This isn't the time to wonder if you are the a-hole. It is time to both save bunches of kids and ruin her life. Roar Suka says, I'm glad too. She sounds awful. I hope she doesn't adopt. Personally, I would block them all and continue living my best life. The only thing those kinds of relationships are good for are medical history. Yeah, infertility is hard on people, and I do feel like it's a bit of karma for all that she did to you. To impale a cat? Your sister sounds like a psychopath. I mean, that is psychopathic behavior. And to have the ability to manipulate others into believing lies about you and purposefully hurting herself to make it look like you're the bad guy. That's next level. I'm shocked that you still follow her on social media, or that you even told your parents that you were getting married and having children. I'm sorry I had to go through that for so long, OP. I would have dropped them the moment they dropped me. Update 3 days later in the comments. Hey, I'm back with an update. I wanted to thank all of y'all sincerely for the comments, awards, and personal messages I've received. I feel very emotional knowing that my account of my childhood is finally being believed and met with warmth and support. It's been hard for me to talk about as many believe that I'm being disingenuous or overdramatic. It's hard to believe, so I get it. So really, thank you all from the bottom of my heart. I decided not to respond to my mother. I blocked both of my parents and thought it would end there. But when does it ever? Wednesday morning, my messenger was being flooded with texts from my parents' siblings. Most of the messages consisted of me being told I need to answer my mother's calls and how callous I was being. I proceeded to block all of them as well. My cousin heard this from her younger sister, who is subject to being around my parents and Angela for family dinners. My mother and her siblings all live within a couple blocks from each other and eat together most nights. I don't know if I can post the screenshot, so I'll type out the messages. Aunt Kathy equals my mom. I hope that makes this easier to understand. Angela kept calling OP an abusive ingrate because she wouldn't talk to Aunt Kathy. Aunt Kathy said they need to start inviting OP to family crap so she comes around to being a surrogate. It got weird real quick because Angela said she wants to use my husband's sperm so her kid is tall and has blue eyes. Then Kathy was saying how she just needed to be around her for like a year, then they can cut her off again, or whatever. Angela kept saying OP is the only way she can have kids because she doesn't want to raise someone's trash baby. Reading those messages made me want to hurl. Do they think my uterus is some kind of fish hatchery that can be bought with some kind words and casserole? It's nice to know how Angela is too much of a narcissistic butt to adopt, though. I'm officially done with every single one of them. If they try to come around me, I will get a restraining order before they can even darken my doorstep. Between the weak conspiracy they've come up with to try to use me like a baby bargain bin and the nasty words they continue to speak about me, I will no longer claim to have a family outside of the one I have created. I'm sorry if this is difficult to read, but reading that again just got me so worked up. But y'all finally got the update you asked for, so that's the silver lining of this, I guess. Anyways, thank you guys again. Let's see some more community reactions. Gangsta Lynn says, I have known a few friends who had to live like this and made the mistake in adulthood of being the bigger person and trying to reconcile. Please do not do this. If they change, good for them. They can treat their new relationships better than they did you. But please do not risk you or your family in hopes that these horrible people will change. Block them. Don't let mom and dad ask you to do anything for your horrible sister again. You have a family now and got by fine without them. Please let them live their lives, and if they change, prove it to the new relationships they make. You clearly do not need them to risk your happiness for any reason. I cannot repeat this enough. Even if they changed and things are different, it is not worth the risk. Congrats on your beautiful family. I wish you years more of happiness and fulfillment with them. Bond Girl Villain chimes in. Don't exist in that place anymore. Your mother didn't even ask about your kids, and it almost sounds like she wants to make Angela feel better at your expense. None of them should be able to contact you at this point. They should be blocked everywhere. It's not worth the upset, and this level of animosity takes a toll on you whether you realize it or not. Schadenfreude is one thing, but this is something else. If you haven't had therapy already, get some. That's disgusting. I actually had a feeling that it was going to go in this direction. Block them all. Every single one. And if someone you end up talking to just happens to mention them, don't ask for updates. Tell them you don't want to know. I feel like your sister's one of those women that will cut a baby out of your belly if she knew you were pregnant. She sounds dangerous, and I can't tell if you are just blind to it or have been manipulated for so long, or if they're just as nuts. What do you think? Next, a mom who needs to lose it all in order to learn a little something. Am I the a-hole for not helping my mom financially because how she treated me compared to my brother growing up? Ever since I, 25 female, could remember, my mom has always showed favoritism to my brother, 21 male, and treated us differently. She basically babied the crap out of him all my life. She'd do everything for him, cook, clean up after him, whatever he wanted she'd get for him, etc. If my brother and I got into a fight, she'd almost always take his side over mine. If my brother did something wrong, she'd always drag me into the situation and discipline me too for whatever reason. If I got so angry with my brother because growing up he was a little crap and I started yelling at him, she'd get mad at me for yelling at him and not the action he did to make me upset. If my brother asked me something and I said no, she'd get mad at me for saying no. When I was 18, she started charging me rent. My brother is 21 and lives with her rent-free. When I was 18, I started working at my dad's business. Parents are divorced, and ever since then, the treatment from my mom got worse. She was always short with me, made passive-aggressive comments all the time to me, and just clearly didn't want to see me succeed. When I was 20, I moved out of my mom's and went to stay with my dad, which extremely offended her, and the relationship was never the same. We had very low contact. Fast forward to today. I pretty much run my dad's business. Dad is semi-retired and travels between my country and his home country every month. I make good money here at the business, own my own condo, have a new car I paid for myself, and I'm just overall doing good. Ever since I can remember, my mom has had financial issues. She's always lived check to check and can't save money. The past few months, my mom's been contacting me more. Last week, she asked if we could have a serious conversation. She explained to me that she can see that I'm doing well for myself and she needs money. She's in a lot of debt and could possibly lose her house. She said she asked my dad for money and he refused. I asked her why she didn't ask her husband. She's remarried, but they don't live together because she refuses to let him move in. Whole other story. She started going off on me saying that's her business and she's asking me, not him. I said no, you treat me like a piece of crap growing up, barely contact me, and now you want me to give you money? She said after all the things she did for me growing up, this is the least I could do for her. She's been telling my other family members how I said no, and they've been up my butt messaging and calling me saying it's the right thing to do, and to have some compassion. Even my brother has been telling me how that's so cold that I refuse to help her, because financially I'm in a good place. I feel like crap because my mom could possibly lose her house, but I feel like that's not my responsibility and I'm being taken advantage of if I say yes. Am I the a-hole? Ask and you shall be responded to. No Language 423 says, when your family texts you, say, you have given a lot to think about. Thank you for reaching out and giving my mom money. She'll be so happy to hear about your support. When they freak out, say, wait, you're not giving my mom money? Then why are you reaching out? It's a bit weird to tell someone to give money to family when you're not giving money to family. Regardless, there's no need to worry. I totally get no one is entitled to your money. Thank you for understanding. The next response comes from Lumita. Not the a-hole, big time. You don't have to do anything. As you said, it's not your responsibility. You did very well managing to get out of the bad environment you had at home. Maybe if she lost her house, she would finally decide to go live with her husband. The OP replies, maybe, but she refuses to let him move in because she wants her space, even though he would financially contribute. Auntie-fascist says, she can want her space, but you don't have to subsidize it. Obvista7633 says, not the a-hole. You don't owe her anything. Keep your boundaries. Yamato Simp has this to say, not the a-hole. You should tell her to ask your brother for the money. Keep doing well for yourself. Set up boundaries and never look back. You're not the a-hole at all. She never gave you any breaks growing up, so why should you cut her a break? And to tell everyone that you said no? Why doesn't she ask whoever she's been telling? She's just making herself look like a fool. It's not your responsibility to clean up after her inability to learn how to control her financial habits. She's old enough. She should know better. You had to learn and you're doing quite well for yourself. Now she can take no for an answer and stop being an immature child. Am I wrong? Thank you for joining us today on rLounge. Before you go, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you have something you want to say regarding today's content, share that with us in the comments below.